Good evening to everyone. Yak Shamlar. I welcome you in tonight's web discussion we are organizing. I give the floor to Soula Hadjikyriakou, moderator of tonight's discussion, to present the panelists and move forward for another productive discussion. Soula, the floor is yours.
Yes, good evening, my dear friends. We continue our discussion on a common European future or a permanent division, focusing today on the Turkish Cypriot community and where they stand at present. The discussion takes place in the context of the project Citizens Forum to Reform Europe. Our keynote speakers are Mehmet Yucel, Director of the Center for Migration, Identity and Rights Studies. Dr. Sertac Sonan, Associate Professor of International Relations, and Ralli Papageorgiou, who is a journalist. I will ask each of you to make a brief introduction for about 5 minutes, and we'll expand later. There are many developments in the north and in Turkey as well. We had the resignation of the so-called government. We had the scandal with Saner. We have developments in Turkey, the blacklist of Turkish Cypriots not allowed to go to Turkey, to visit Turkey, for example. And I will also talk with Mehmet Derya, we have him here with us today, who represents the Communal Movement Platform, with which OPEK is organizing this web discussion. So let's start with Mehmet to give us a short introduction to our subject. Hello,
yes, yes, thank you very much. I think it's a very timely meeting we're having today, exactly 1 year after the biggest intervention in the elections in the Turkish Cypriot community. If we remember what happened during the biggest intervention, we see that a lot of people, including Mr. Akıncı himself, his team members, Mr. Serdar Denktaş, his team members, journalists, business people, etc., were threatened directly by the Turkish National Intelligence Agency. We had the embassy, the Turkish embassy, and the National Intelligence Agency directly involved in the elections, holding meetings with people, with organizations, giving out money, making threats, getting involved, etc. Mr. Tatar's campaign itself was actually run by Mr. Fuat Oktay's team that was positioned here. And the journalist who actually photographed their meeting was later threatened herself. And we, 6 activists in the Turkish Cypriot community, including myself, we actually reported the intervention and distributed it to the international community and locally as well. So after the intervention in the elections, what happened was another intervention, this time at the UDP party elections, which actually brings me to make this point that I'm making now, which is in the past, I used to say Turkey used to macro manage the Turkish Cypriot community. During the last 10 years or so, this macro management has turned into micro management. But starting from 2 or 3 months before the elections last year, Turkey started actually managing every aspect of life in the north, which is important to highlight at the beginning. Another point to highlight is that the Cyprus problem, with no hope to be solved in the near future, is completely dependent on Turkish internal politics and the upcoming elections, which is basically supposed to be taking place in 2023, but probably most likely will be within a year or so. And once we near the elections, I fear and I believe that there will be increasing tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean, but also in Cyprus as well. So with this background, let's look at what the Turkish Cypriot community is looking like after this 1 year of, I should say, disastrous rule. Well, over the last couple of years, Turkish Cypriots used to have a lot of economic problems, but also low political trust levels, low social trust levels. They used to complain about corruption in the Turkish Cypriot community. But we do polling every 3 months. Since 2013, basically, we've been doing this. So 4 times a year. And in the September survey that we did just last month, the results, we recorded the worst statistical results for the Turkish Cypriot community since we started doing the quarterly polling. So the Turkish Cypriot community is a very depressed community at this point, with a very low level of self-confidence. We still have the economic problems and corruption and low political trust, which has actually gotten worse since last year. For example, 73% of the people who participated in our polling said corruption is widespread in the Turkish Cypriot community. 78% said people who commit crime can actually get away with it. So it actually shows you how little confidence we have in the justice system as well, in addition to the political system. Talking about economic problems, 68% said their own economic situation got worse during the last year. But what's different in this polling that we did last month is that people are now complaining about democracy and freedom of speech in the Turkish Cypriot community. 6 out of 10 people, which is important, think people's will not be reflected in case of an early election. 6 out of 10 people don't believe in democracy, that is. 68% said democracy got worse in the Turkish Cypriot community during the last year. 62.53% said freedom of speech in the Turkish Cypriot community got worse during the last year. And 75% said they're not happy with democracy in the Turkish Cypriot community. Now, looking at this background, we can say that Turkish Cypriots are losing trust in the political system. They're becoming more apolitical. They're losing their sense of belonging to the community. Thus, they're becoming more self-interested and more personalized, that is. And with the lack of a with the lack of a hope for a solution to the Cyprus problem, they're almost becoming helpless, or their feeling of helplessness is increasing, which is actually lowering the level of self-confidence of the community. It's important to note that communities with low levels of self-esteem or self-confidence tend to actually follow power, which is to them, what is perceived as powerful is at this point Turkey, and also, unfortunately, its reflection in Cyprus, which is the UBP. We see that UBP is running ahead of the other parties in our polls as well, in case of an early election. All this is actually making the Turkish Cypriot community more dependent on Turkey. So as a closing point, yeah.
I was going to ask, I was very glad today to see a big demonstration in the streets of Nicosia in the north, demanding a reunion of Cyprus, demanding a solution against the corruption and all this. This means that the people are still angry with their regime. They are very angry and they demand a solution to their problems. So this is healthy.
Yes. Yes, actually polling shows still there's a majority that supports a federal solution to the Cyprus problem. And the further away it looks, the possibility of a solution, the more helpless the society feels, which is, you know, almost a vicious cycle, if you will, in terms of the psychology of the community. So what I'm saying as a closing point is that the Turkish Cypriots actually need more and more support by the international community and also by from the Greek Cypriot community at this point, because the lack of this support is actually pushing the Turkish Cypriots more towards Turkey, and it's making the pressure be felt much more. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Dr. Sertac now. Give us your introductory statement.
Thank you very much, Soula, and thank you everyone for inviting us for this event, and thank you everyone for joining us in this event. Mine touched upon actually most of the points that I had in mind. I'll add a couple of things about the economy, mainly, to explain, to give you a picture of the economy. But before that, maybe I'll, in a way, repeat what Mine has said. Yesterday was the first anniversary of the election of Tatar, and the state of Turkish Cypriots, at least those who are pro-reunification, like us, we have been traumatized, and we are trying to, get out of this trauma. And unfortunately, we're not so successful in that because of this state of hopelessness, as Mine pointed out. Why? The Cyprus problem. It's in coma, thanks to Mr. Anastasiadis. Actually, we are grateful for his present to Tatar. Well, Tatar is grateful to him, I guess, for the present. And now we are in this, dead end. Maybe it's not dead and buried, but we are almost there. Of course, I mean, you can still be optimistic like me if you like zombie movies. So there is even Return from the Grave. But
we have been defeated.
Yeah,
we wish there is still hope. We hope there is still hope.
Well, I mean, the hope is the last, the one which dies last. But picture doesn't really look bright. Mr. Erdogan is not as strong in Turkey. However, the opposition, which may replace Erdogan, is even more nationalistic when it comes to the Cyprus problem. At least Mr. Erdogan, when he was, at the peak of his power, he was pragmatic. I mean, he was ready to make a deal. Unfortunately, this opportunity was squandered in Crans-Montana. But anyway, if we look at what's going on the economic front, we see that things are going downhill here too. The latest figures were announced last month, and it seems Turkish Cypriot economy shrank by 16.2% in 2020 during the pandemic. GDP per capita is now around $10,000. And on its own, this may not sound bad, but let me add this. It is back to the level in 2005. Okay? At some point, it peaked in 2008 at $16,000. So from then on, it went down gradually, and we are at 10,000 now. So anywhere in the world, I think this would mean the end of the government. Not here for various reasons, let's say. But I think this is a big thing. This impoverishing of the Turkish Cypriot economy has gained momentum. This was the case before the COVID-19. In 2018, the figure was 13,000 something, slightly above 13,000. Now we are at 10,000. How is it going to be this year? Probably it's going to be better because higher education is picking up. But tourism went down for 82.7% in 2020. It's recovering, but not in the pace that you have in the South, for instance. Inflation is 21%. Unemployment, latest figure is from May 2020, if I'm not mistaken. It's 10%. Youth unemployment, almost 30%. And employment among women is higher than 10%. And traditionally, women participation in labor force is very low in the Turkish Cypriot community. I think it's around 33%, which says lots of things about the state of women in this part of the country, let's say.
Turkish economy is also in a very bad condition.
Exactly.
But
I mean,
it seems that the north is even worse.
Yes, yes, because we mainly rely on service sector. Okay?
Yeah.
Tourism and higher education were the two locomotives of the economy. And actually in 2018 or 2019, I don't recall well, it was the service sector was so good that it was able to plug the deficit, current account deficit. So we have a huge trade deficit, over 1 billion, but it was covered by these two sectors. Right? But because of the tourism, it took a nosedive, as elsewhere. It brought the economy down. Well, that's what I have to say initially.
Thank you, Sertac. Let's go to Ralli to give us the Greek Cypriot view towards the Turkish Cypriot community.
Yes, allow me to read what I have. What I had in mind. I put some thoughts on the paper, let's say. So I think it was a hell of a year, like the British say. The elections last year and the win of Tatar, I think it was a milestone, not only for the Cyprus problem, but for the internal status quo of the Turkish Cypriot community. Turkish intervention, which started before last October's elections, continues more drastic to various aspects of civil society, democratic rules, shaping a new state of affairs in the north. A lot of things has changed since last October. It's not only that Tatar has put in the table what Çavuşoğlu has proposed in April 2018 at a meeting with Akıncı and political leaders in the north, a proposal for two-state solution that Mustafa Akıncı was strongly against. It's not only that Ersin Tatar doesn't know much about Cyprus problem in whole spectrum, but seems to have memorized the narrative, he says. It is mostly that Cyprus problem is not a priority in both sides, in both communities at the moment. So public opinion just listen, react, and continue with daily and financial problems they are facing the last 2 years because of the pandemic and the economical crisis. The perception for Ersin Tatar is that he will say, do what Ankara wants him to do and say. His argument is that being elected by the majority of voters in the north, he has also the support to his new vision for a two-state solution, sovereign equality and equal international status. The Turkish Cypriot opposition replies with the argument that he was not elected, he was elected with the intervention of the regime in Turkey, and that the majority of the people support a bizonal bicommunal solution. But to be honest, we didn't see so far massive rallies on that, like the one after the attack on African newspaper, the Democratic Rally back in 2018. COVID has played a significant role neutralizing the resistance and the reflex of the community, in both sides of the communities, to be honest. People having hard time to pay their bills, to deal with unemployment and find hope for the future. They are not sure that going down to the streets, they will have a tangible result. For the Turkish Cypriots, EU has been a disappointment. They thought they could rely on the EU for their development and integration into the international community, even that EU can play a key role to the solution of the Cyprus problem. On the other hand, the Greek Cypriot community, they don't have the need for integration. They know how to be a member, a part of EU. They have the benefits of a member state. And I think they feel the support of the EU, especially during the pandemic and the economical crisis, by having funds from ECB, loans actually, but still a kind of support to their incomes and the loss of some jobs. Greek Cypriot community is more conservative and suspicious, especially when it comes to Turkey. So when they listen to Tatar repeating every day, sometimes more than once a day, how tight the relationship with Turkey is, and that he is not going ever to reject Turkish guarantee rights and not to permit the Turkish army to leave the island, the more they are afraid. The fear they feel for Turkey is increased. Greek Cypriots also deal with increases in the prices of good products and services, and unsecure about the future of their jobs. It is proven the last decades that when there is a stagnation on the Cyprus problem, there are more radical views ahead, rhetoric of partition, nationalism. What is needed now is to put back in track the procedure of the talks, of the negotiations, and bring up again a vision which will pave the way for stability and prosperity, peace and development. EU, I think, must be a part of this, and we have to safeguard any cooperation and communication that has been established with many difficulties between the two communities all this year. And I will finish with this. I don't think that we have to let ourselves get lost again. Let's not get lost again.
Thank you, Ralli. We'll soon go on to questions and answers. I would like Mehmet Derya to talk to us about this Communal Movement Platform and the cooperation with OPEK, and also see the situation in the north as well. Can you just give us a picture? Yes.
Thank you very much, Soula. And I would like to say thank you very much for the for Sertac, Sonan, Mehmet, Yucel, Ralli Papageorgiou, and of course you and Kyriakos as well, and the people who are also watching us on the Zoom tonight. I am the founder of Toplumsal Haraket Platformu, which is a communal movement platform on the internet. We set this platform in 2019 towards the presidential elections to support Mr. Akıncı. After the Turkey's, actually I would say this coup to our elections and democracy, they put Tatar onto charge. They just actually brought him there. He hasn't been elected by Turkish Cypriots. And also, as you may know, now the population in Cyprus is 4 times more from other countries, people living there, than Cypriots, original Cypriots. So we agreed to cooperate with OPEK to be more powerful inside and outside of Cyprus, to demonstrate protests and do whatever we have to do for our country to really unite our country.
Yeah. This is what we need now, a common struggle between Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots. No community can act alone. We have to work together. Other ways, we cannot succeed anything. We have to do it together.
Yes, but actually, we do talk a lot. We do protest a lot. We wrote a lot, but nothing has been changed.
We have to continue doing that.
We have to continue. We're not going to give up, but we have to do these, like, more things than just talk and protest, because it doesn't, unfortunately, work. As long as Tatar and Erdogan's there, it's not going to work. So we need to shout our voice internationally, like to EU and United Nations, like write them a letter, do a petition for signatures and send all these signatures with the letters to them so they know what's going on in Cyprus. If we do everything in Cyprus, only we know this. Of course, they realize what's going on, but we have to do more. We have to tell them we are here and we're living all these problems and you have to help us because that's why you are there for. Thank you very much.
Because you run a big danger to disappear as a community. I mean, you have all these Turkish interventions, you have all these blows to your identity, which is really, it's a very hard way of life in the North at the moment. And the international community should turn its ear to you. Otherwise, things will get worse.
That's why we need to open outside as well, outside the Cyprus as well. Yeah. Because what we do in Cyprus, only we know. And we know this anyway. So we have to let the others know as well the situation, I believe. And where are we standing actually in Northern Cyprus? Nowhere. Nowhere. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next minute. Everything could happen. Whatever Erdogan, something comes out from his mouth, that's what happens. We don't know. And we don't feel safe in Cyprus, Northern Cyprus. So we want to
how did you see this blacklist by Erdogan not to allow to certain Turkish Cypriots to visit Turkey?
What this blacklist is, who gave this list to Erdogan? That's more important than anything else. We all know it, but we're not sure, so we can't say about it. But it's against the law, because how can you go Turkey and they tell you you are threatening our national of Turkey, so you can't come in? So if I do this, if I'm threaten Turkey's national safety, then you should arrest me. No, let me go. So this is some kind of threatening Cypriot people not to talk anymore, just go with as he says, but we're not going to do that. We're not agree that. And we're going to do everything to stop this.
Turkey is exerting, Turkey is exerting intimidation to make you shut up and not do anything.
Our Cypriot, our community is not like that. As everybody knows, since the beginning of everything, we never give up. And we will never going to give up.
Yeah, good. Mine, why do you think Turkey and Tatar, of course, are insisting on this two-state solution, since they know that neither you nor United Nations or United States don't accept this position? Do they want to gain some time, to waste time? What is their target?
Well, I mean, I think at this point it's to Turkey's interest to actually keep Cyprus as a bargaining chip, basically. And I think that's exactly what's happening. It's important that Mr. Erdogan wins these coming up elections. And in trying to win the elections, it's important that he raises nationalistic feelings in Turkey, because economy and everything else is failing. All that is left for him to campaign on will be nationalism. That's why tensions are running high again in terms of Syria. And I suspect the closer we get to the elections, tensions will be running high here as well. In terms of Mr. Tatar and how or why he feels a two-state solution is important, it's really, I think whatever he's being told, he's actually playing along. And that's why he's actually sitting at the office instead of Mr. Akıncı. So I think it's to Turkey's interest to actually put forward this policy at this point.
Yeah. Dr. Sertac, I think the Cyprus issue at the moment is at its worst point ever. There is an impasse that never existed before, because in other times there was stalemates many times, but never without an envoy from the United Nations keep trying to revive the talks, to do something. Now we don't even have an envoy from the United Nations. So where do we go? What will happen? I mean, what can we do about it?
Well, difficult question. I agree with you that it's probably the worst point in the history of talks. Let's say it reminds me of the period between 98-2000. Okay? So that was, remember, it came after 1996, Green Line incidents, etc. The tension was heightened, S-300s. So at that point too,
with the grey wolves.
With the grey wolves, and following that, in 1997, Turkey was excluded from the expansion of the enlargement of the EU, and yes, this gave the opportunity to Denktash to bring it to the table the idea of confederation. Quite the similar scenario. Of course, at that time, there were different dynamics at the international level and in the regional level.
In the European Union mainly, yes.
Exactly. So it was the time of the enlargement. Turkey was keen on joining the EU. And accordingly, actually, there was a rebound in 1999 when Turkey was given the candidate status in Helsinki. Yeah. So, and then this process took us to the Annan Plan process, where we came very close to the solution. Yeah. Indeed, when
there was action then.
Well,
but now nothing.
There is nothing. There is no, other natural calendars which would push the process. So, in that respect, it's the worst and it's unprecedented at least in the post 1974 period. And by nature, I'm an optimistic person. I always try to see, a silver lining. There is none, unfortunately. As I said in the introductory remarks, Turkey is the main player here.
Yeah.
But Turkey at the moment is run by the nationalists. And if there will be a change in Turkey, the ones who are going to replace this coalition will be at least, as nationalist, probably more nationalist and less pragmatic than the current government. So I ran out of, any hope, I'm afraid. And of course, I mean, we have to also...
You have to get rid of our government as well, of Anastasiadis. I mean,
exactly. And that's the
change.
That's the thing. I mean, 2017 and 2004, now, the more I think about the 2004 referendum, the more angry I got. Imagine, it's been how many years? 17 years. And this was only 30 years after 1974. And imagine how much we could have improved our country if we had managed to reunify back then. And in 2017, we came to the brink of solution when Mr. Anastasiadis decided to run away. So to answer what you have asked to Mine, I would say Turkey is also fed up. Okay? And this is a country which tries to be the regional hegemon, and it is taken for a ride by the smallest country in the region, in their eyes. I mean, of course, Cyprus for us is the center of the universe, but that's a different thing. We have to think from the perspective of a country which inherited the legacy of an empire, and they see themselves as there was this neo-Ottoman thing in the whole Turkish foreign policy. It's not limited to Turkey. I mean, Turkey is now in Nagorno-Karabakh, in Qatar, in Somalia, Libya, northern Syria, northern Iraq. So this is a country which is projecting power to everywhere. So I think it was very irresponsible of Mr. Anastasiadis to blow that opportunity in 2017 over nitty-gritty details.
Our side sometimes look as if they are not in touch with reality. Of course, they have their reasons, we all know, but still, I think we have to see how things can change and what we can do as people, as just the grassroots, what we can do about it. Ralli, with this situation now in the north, with this political instability, the so-called government has resigned. Saner now has left all his posts.
Not yet. Saner has not resigned.
Thinking about it?
No. Saner did not. Saner has not resigned yet.
Well, it looks like he's going to anyway.
Yeah, he looks like. Yeah, we will see.
Anyway, his image has been damaged anyway. There will be early elections. There will be a Congress meeting next month, at the end of this month, of the National Unity Party and so on. There is instability. But on the other hand, Qatar continues to take steps towards the Turkification of the North. I mean, he has given a base in the Carpathian into Turkey. He has given visas to more Turkish subjects, more Turkish people, and he continues doing all these things. So the people, are they involved in all these things? Do they care about these developments, or are they attracted by all these political developments that that affect their daily life?
You mean that the Greek Cypriot public opinion?
No, the Turkish Cypriots. The Turkish Cypriots.
The Turkish Cypriots. I think the Turkish Cypriot community, I mean, this question has to be asked to the Turkish Cypriots that they are.
Yes, but you read about it.
What I can tell you, I can tell you, what I receive as a reflection of what's happening in the north is that the Turkish Cypriots, they are a bit fed up by trying again and again, and they left alone in this process for resistance against everything, against partition, against Turkey, against nationalism, against the fear that the Turkish regime wants to impose to them.
Left alone from the Greek Cypriots.
Left alone by everybody, I think. I mean, Sertac and Ahmed Derya, they can confirm or wrong me, but I believe that the Turkish Cypriots many times in the recent past, the last 2 decades, they have been in the streets demonstrating their will for the solution of the Cyprus problem and the democracy, defending democracy and their values. I believe that when they do this, the Greek Cypriot community appreciates and recognizes that they have the guts to do it. They don't resist from their sofa like the Greek Cypriots do. They are willing to go back in the streets and struggle there. But the last 2 years, as I said before, I believe that because of the pandemic and the change in the change of the government and all the authorities in the north, and the need they have for cash flow, the only source for money for the Turkish Cypriots, unfortunately, is Turkey at this point. From EU, they can have some significant funds for very significant reasons, and mostly for bicommunal projects, and not for developing their own structures. And that is, I believe, a problem, because you don't find the will in the Greek Cypriot community to cooperate with the Turkish Cypriot as it was before. Every time the political climate is different, it's getting worse. Let's say that we have bad times and good times. Okay, now we have a very bad time in Cyprus history. So now I want to agree with Sertac that he said that this period reminds him of Kyrides Denktaş's time back in 98. I believe it's the same with S-300 and all the militarization. So the Greek Cypriots and the Turkish Cypriots now, they got into themselves and not coming out to declare what they want. They try to preserve what they have. For the Turkish Cypriots, it's more vital to have money, so they will be paid. Most of the employers, they work in the government sector and semi-government sector in the north, so they have salaries that has to be paid every month. That's why Saner's coalition, they were begging Ankara to send money every month. And that is something I believe that hurts the dignity of the Turkish Cypriot, because they can product. They are a productive community. They want to work and stand in their own feet. So this is something I believe that hurts them, and they want to resist, but they don't know how. And if they go back to the streets and make a massive rally like the Democratic Rally in 2018, what will be the result? What will be the result? What it will change? I mean, Turkey has dominated the power in the north. And as we see with the incident with Mr. Saner, the video, etc., what is happening today, I mean, we see that it's not only the political power of Turkey, but it's also the conflict between mafia in Turkey and political power. And that conflict now moved into the north. So I don't know, this combination actually afraids me. Because if mafia can control the change of the power in the north, from now on, we won't have politicians to talk with for Cyprus problem or for any other problem or issue, but we will have financial interests, mafia interests, and you know all that in both sides, mafia all these years has found the ways to cooperate and do business. We are not. We are not yet there. We are not. Civil society is not yet there.
Yes, Mine. So this is very frightening that Ralli just said, that mafia is getting into the political picture. And this will make things even worse than what they are now. What is your opinion about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, going back to the earlier questions as well, a couple of things.
Yeah.
Well, like Sertac said, it angers a lot of Turkish Cypriots, pro-federal solution Turkish Cypriots. To hear Mr. Anastasiadis now say he is all for a federal solution and he won't be talking about anything else, because initially he was the one who brought up the two-state solution to Mr. Akıncı and Mr. Çavuşoğlu.
And there is agreement, and then he talked about the decentralized federation and this and that. I mean,
yes. We need sincere leaders on both sides who wouldn't play to past time or play to nationalistic feelings or this or that to solve this Cyprus problem as soon as possible before problems on either side become much more and the division becomes unreversible, let's say. So in terms of hope, of course, it's related that with no hope or with no light at the end of the tunnel, you're not going to have people out on the streets demonstrating. That's why we don't have mass rallies anymore. That's why people feel helpless that whatever they do, whatever they say, in the Annan plan, we were out on the streets by 10,000s. It didn't work. In Crown Montana, we had Mr. Akıncı, who was, the person the leader who supports federal solution most, let's say, and he couldn't make it. So when Turkey comes to you and says, okay, that's it, I'm fed up, and if you don't vote for the person I'm telling you to vote for, or if you don't go for the two-state solution, then I'm not going to support you. It's not even I'm not going to support you, but it's like you're not going to enter to Turkey, like we probably are not able to, because you're a threat to the national security of Turkey. And and we have a lot of people who depend on money being paid from Turkey. And we have a lot of people who feel more secure by Turkey being on their side, like it or not. That is the case for a lot of Turkish Cypriots. So if it means to fight with Turkey to do whatever for the Cyprus problem, then a lot of people will choose not to fight with Turkey for financial reasons, but also for cultural reasons, for security reasons, etc. Because of that, of course, we are where we are today. But in terms of, again, mafia being involved in politics, of course, it didn't happen just today. It happened during the elections last year as well. We had a lot of money financing, who. So things are going to get worse unless we actually move forward to find a solution to the Cyprus problem. At this point, how is it possible with a Turkish Cypriot leadership like this and Turkish leadership like that? I don't know, but soon there will be elections in Turkey. I believe there will be some changes in Turkey. I believe Turkey needs to go back to the European route or path or whatever you call it to be more integrated into the European system, to make the Turkish Cypriots feel safer in asking for a federal solution as well. And I believe, like you mentioned at the beginning, we need to have more bicommunal movements in Cyprus. We need to have a more permanent structure of dialogue between the two communities, because what we're going through in the north, but also in Cyprus, in the region, in the Eastern Mediterranean, it's not healthy, it's not sustainable, and we're probably like to see a lot of problems if we continue like this.
Yeah. Well, Sertac, if we have to wait until 2023 for a change of power in both sides, I mean, Turkey and Cyprus, and Anastasiadis in the south, it could be too late, I think. I mean, things, okay, we have a status quo, but the status quo is not stable. It's changing every day. I mean, you have more Turkish subjects coming to your site, getting visas and passports and so on. And this changes the demographic structure of the north. We have, I think things will come to a point of no return. 1 year, more than 1 year, 15 months is a great time. It's a very big time to just stand and wait for a change by itself. I don't know what we can do. Honestly, I don't myself know what to do. But let's see if there are any ideas.
Well, I've been painting a black picture since the beginning of this talk. But I think what you have said is a good analysis. And I will go one step beyond. I'm afraid we have already crossed the point of no return. Because there is, even let's say, if someone progressive wins in the south, I think the elections will 2023 February. It will be difficult. First, is it likely that the Greek Cypriots will have a progressive?
We don't know the rules of the game. We don't know anything.
So that looks unlikely, but of course, I mean, we have more than 1 year and almost 1.5, and then many things change in politics in 1.5 years. So maybe both in Turkey and here we see changes in the changes for the better. But what can we do in the meantime? I agree. I think you said that, Ralli said the same thing, and Mina said, and this was basically back in our days when we were together in the technical committee. That was the position too, in those good old days.
Just to tell you that we didn't manage to have a full meeting until now, till when they were appointed on your side. We haven't seen all of them, nobody, just one of the 2 people.
I didn't even know that they appointed new members. So,
yeah.
But anyway.
Yes.
So what we have to do is try to build new bridges. No matter how small, we have to be on the ground. I mean, we cannot delegate anything to the foreigners. The UN, the EU, they all see what's going on. They couldn't care less. Well, maybe they care, but they have much bigger problems. I mean, this is as, I think it was Adamides, my good friend, and Konstantinos, I forgot the co-author's name, I'm sorry. They said this is a comfortable conflict. It is comfortable. Okay? When you compare it with other conflicts, this is a comfortable conflict. So no one wants to.
And a little boring, I think, with no
exactly.
no blood, no clashes, no nothing.
So it's not a sexy conflict. I mean, to invest time, energy, money, whatever. So why should they? In the middle of bigger crisis elsewhere. So they're not. So we should not expect anything from the outsiders. We would, of course, we appreciate any help, but we should grow up. I think that's our problem in both communities. We are not acting like adults. We are always expecting someone else, the other community, the Brits, the US, whatever, to come and fix the problem. They're not going to fix it.
In other words.
Yeah, we have been waiting for Godot. I'm really sorry that I missed the
play.
Play yesterday.
Very interesting, very interesting.
That's what we need, that kind of cooperation. Okay?
Yes, I think the key word here is common struggle. If you are fighting on your own, or if you are fighting on our own, we won't succeed anything. This time we have to join hands, have to join power and work together.
Everywhere. Otherwise, I mean, journalists, academics,
yes,
unions.
Even we translate more Turkish poems into Greek, or if we, I don't know, sing Turkish songs or whatever. I mean, we have been doing this 20 years now, even more than 20 years, this by communal activities and so on. Okay, created a better climate, but it didn't change the belief into, they didn't create more belief in the federal, the bicommunal, bi-zonal federation. The problem is still there. People are still away from, they don't even know what does this mean. Anyway, I would like to see, because Ralli wants to leave early, I think, if she wants to join us and tell us something, to add something to this discussion.
I think there are some questions as well. Maybe we can try to answer them.
Yes. Yes, you want to do something, to say something?
Soula, if you allow me, I can set some of the questions as there is a flow. One question is directed to Mine. Mine, you said that Turkey is using Cyprus as a bargaining chip. The question is their position now? We know that during 2017, we were very close to strike a deal, a strategic agreement between the two sides. Do you believe that all the developments afterwards, especially the stance of Turkey, and finally the election of Tatar, is a retaliation from the Turkish side? Turkey is bargaining in a way by insisting in two states, and how this stance can change if, let's say, if we want to have a result, we need to have a change in the stance of Turkey. In principle, we need to have a change in the stance of Turkey. Otherwise, we have no chance. If it's a bargaining chip, there is room to think otherwise. This is the one question. The second is for Ralli, before she leaves. Ralli, the Greek Cypriots are really aware of the consequences of a Turkish Cypriot community marginalized in the north, because we see what is happening for a year and more, not just during the elections, but the day after Grand Montana, the process started. Okay, the Greek Cypriots are aware, they are informed, they are able to have an informed choice of what is happening around them, or they are in the comfort zone and they do not care, or they are misled by their elites. Something is going wrong. I don't know if it's going wrong or it's okay, business as usual, whatever it happens in the north. And for Sertac, have we exploited really the channels of contacts with the European Union? Turkish Cypriots and Turkish Cypriot community as a distinct community of Cyprus, de jure is part of the European Union. Do you believe that you, in cooperation maybe with Greek Cypriots, have exploited the channels of direct contact with the European Union, or the disappointment is so huge, you say they neglect us, we don't care, we are on our own? That's my questions for for the all.
I would like to add something to this from Kyriakos. Niazik Zilyurek is a Turkish Cypriot, actually, European MP. So he can help. He can help the community. Did you ask him to do something? Did you ask for sending a delegation from Cyprus to Brussels, for example, to speak up there, to see officials, and so on?
It's not allowed yet for delegations to go to the center offices
because
of
COVID.
There are some restrictions still about visiting the central offices of European Parliament or European institutions in general. So
perhaps journalists can do that. A delegation of journalists, for example.
We have limits also, up to 3 journalists for every assembly, not more. And the system of financing these trips has changed. It's very difficult. Yes, there are some practical issues that it is an obstacle for sometimes to cooperate or do some projects. But because I have to leave in 5 minutes. What I would like to say, firstly, I will answer the question of Kyriakos. Yes. No, I don't think that really the Greek Cypriots understand what is happening in the north, the changes and the Turkification, how Soula called it.
Yes,
yes, and what is it if you have as a neighbor not the Turkish Cypriots but the Turkey? Whoever Turkey will be, Erdogan, Krem Imamoglu, or the mayor of Ankara. I don't really think that the Greek Cypriots, although they are facing both communities, as I said before, the same problems, mostly the Greek Cypriots, they are living in their comfort zone because they have some other benefits. So they think that no war can happen. If we have some clashes and some casualties, they will stop. But it's a different thing to be neighbor of Turkey and in a divided island and having no one to support you. And it's a different thing to be a partner in a whole island and have the prosperity and peace future in the whole island. What is happening with the information? Personally, I'm trying to do my best with the Cyprus News Agency and CYBC. That is the reason that I will leave this discussion, because I have to be in CYBC News. But there are some other TV channels and some other medias that pay attention to what is happening in the north. But as we all know, negative news are preferred by all media. So when there is something about something positive, about something, the cooperation between a common project, the cooperation between the Cyprus and Turkish Cyprus and something, some of the media finds it very romantic. That you won't have clicks, you won't have something. And for example, the theatrical
award.
Yes, the award. It was a very good news. It was good news, yes. Big news. I didn't see it.
Of a Greek Cypriot in Turkey, okay? Of a Greek Cypriot in Turkey, yes.
Yeah. I didn't see it. I didn't see it in many news, to be honest. Very few media in the Greek Cypriot side made it headlines, and
not even headline, just a mention, just a few words about it.
Yeah. There were some interviews with the actor and
but they didn't show them. But what I'm trying to tell you is that
For the Greek Cypriots, what Turkey says is more important of what the Turkish Cypriot says. And to be honest, I'm trying to change that. I don't think that it's a normal thing for me to be the voice of the Turkish Cypriot. And I'm glad that in Alpha TV, there is a Turkish Cypriot journalist, woman, that she speaks for the Turkish Cypriot community. And she says what is happening there. But the Greek Cypriots, they don't really care. And unless you give them a lot of this kind of news and you persuade them that this is a good thing to watch. I think that...
Excuse me. They do not care what is happening in Varosha. They do not care what is happening in the open seas. De facto, they are not... Cyprus Republic does not exercise sovereign rights in EEZ. They do not care about the military build-up in Lefkoniko. They do not care about the military navy bases in Apostolos Andreas now. Something is going wrong. It's not because they do not want to show romantic stories of bi-communal projects. It's because they are misleading from their partly from their politicians. I cannot understand.
Kyriakos is the political leadership, then is the media owners, then is the media managers, and then is the journalists. Okay, so when you have the political leadership, not to encourage the bi-communal projects and some other things, and they have they say what they say separately and everything, then you have the media owners who they have their own interests not to show these future common projects. And then you have the media management, and you have to deal with individuals to change this chain and be in front of the good news and the pro-solution news, etc., etc. All these years I'm in this profession, what I have seen is when the political climate is good, you can have news that are good for the reunification. When the climate, the political climate is bad, you have the worst out coming from both sides.
So the continuation of deadlock is very, very dangerous in all ways.
We have to struggle. I will say this and leave. We have to struggle by professionals to keep in touch and keep the flow of the news wherever, because another thing is that a journalist can say his opinion before he says the news. And that is the bad thing. We have, as journalists, to learn how to make news fact-finding, and the other professions have to provide, without comments, the right information so it can be transmitted or used by all the others as a source, not a comment. We are keen on commenting and not reporting with the journalists. This is a blame I can take on. So thank you very much. I'm very sorry that I have to leave. I'm very sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Ralli.
We should meet again and discuss again all these issues, because I think that the developments ahead, it's not going to be very good.
Thank you very much.
I thank you. Bye-bye to everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Görüşürüz. Bye-bye.
Görüşürüz.
So, there was another question from you, Kyriakos, to be answered by...
I raised a question to Yucel about the two-stage bargaining card, and to Sertac whether the Turkish Cypriot Community has really exploited the channels of communication with the European Union. Yucel?
Yeah. Yeah, basically I mentioned Turkey keeping Cyprus as a bargaining chip. And by Turkey, I mostly mean Mr. Erdogan, right? And I said it was a bargaining chip for its for the upcoming elections. So if for Mr. Erdogan, it would mean that a federal solution in Cyprus would bring him votes, then he would actually go for a federal solution. What I mentioned at the beginning of my talk was that with the economy and everything else failing, he actually needs the votes from nationalistic feelings and the nationalists, right? It would be a hopeful thing to say Turkey is keeping Cyprus as a bargaining chip in order to get something more in return from the Greek Cypriots for a federal solution, but it wouldn't mean more votes for Mr. Erdogan, unfortunately. So what he is doing basically is keeping Cyprus and playing the two-state card, basically. But if it would mean more votes for him, I would say he would actually go for more tension, even more conflict in Cyprus. So although you might look at it as a more optimistic point, I actually gave it as a more pessimistic note at the beginning, that the bargaining chip might be the last card, if you will, he plays to win the elections, and it might not be as pretty as we hope it would be.
I agree with Mina that this is, part of the story that we see regarding Varosha is it addresses the Turkish domestic political scene. It's for consumers in Turkey, let's say.
Yeah.
All these shows. Okay? So, and Tatar has spent, according to one account, 2 months in Turkey, abroad in the last 1 year. 2 months. And he's going around city by city in Anatolia. I think he's paying his debt in a way to Mr. Erdogan. He's going around praising Turkey. It's really difficult to see him in Cyprus.
He's actually campaigning for him.
Yeah.
It looks like that. I mean, it looks like he is a part of the campaign, showing how he got someone a nationalist elected. So,
Sertac, do you have an explanation, maybe, Mine, why the Cyprus issue? For a long time, it wasn't an internal issue for Turkey. For a long time, why it has become again, after Crans-Montana, became again a national issue for Turkey. Why?
Part of the story is, of course, the coalition, de facto coalition in Turkey, I mean, between MHP and AKP. So it's and nationalism in Turkey sells. We all know that. Everyone is well, I'm exaggerating, of course, but a big majority of the people are nationalistic. So apparently it sells, and they are doing everything to create this gathering around the flag effect. Okay? All these operations in Syria, Iraq, Libya, flexing muscles everywhere. It's part of the same story. So it's not only Cyprus. It's part of the, big effort. We have to see it like that. And this TV series, it's back on our agenda. The billboards are covered with posters of the series, and the newspapers as well. They are full of ads of this thing, and it's part of the same campaign, I would say. And this is what is really making me more afraid, because you are right. I agree with you, Kyriakos, that Cyprus was not a big issue in the Turkish Cypriot psyche in the last 10 years. For many years. And now they're scratching that. It's coming back. I mean, they're showing, they invested, millions of liras to shoot this TV series in the middle of the pandemic, violating all pandemic restrictions, telling the Turkish people how Greek Cypriots, try to destroy, annihilate Turkish Cypriots. So they are recreating something which was long gone. Okay? Of course, I mean, Turkish Cypriots, even nationalist ones, strongly protest what is being shown there. But it's a different story. I think it's working. It's on Friday evenings now, on prime time in public broadcaster. They're showing this. So I'm afraid it is here to stay. I mean, this nationalism about Cyprus. And the more they scratch it, the more sensitive it will get. So for the future governments as well, to, take a step.
CHP has no difference with AKP on the Cyprus issue. They have?
Probably they are more nationalistic. As I said, I mean, AKP has this pragmatic element. They can, give and take. If they're going to take something in return from the EU, whatever, from the US, they are ready to take some steps. In that respect, İYİ Party and CHP are more rigid, I would say. They have a more rigid position.
Actionnaire
is originally from MHP.
Yucel?
If I can add something here real quick. Turkey, Erdogan actually has been ruling on his own, but he's always had coalitions, if you will. Initially, his main coalition was with the more progressive, more Democrats. Then he lost them. He went with the religious group. Then he lost them, and he's going with the nationalists. And if you look at the sociology in Turkey, it's basically more of a conservative and nationalist society. So this is where the big votes are. And this is, if Erdogan will be losing, he'll be losing to a coalition as well of CHP, but also the nationalists, İYİ Party, Meral Akşener. And it's, of course, it's likely that a lot of things will improve in terms of like maybe integration or more positive speech towards the EU, etc. But the nationalism will be there, unfortunately. So,
can we exploit also what is foreseen ahead of the snap elections in the north?
If you like, I answered your other question. I mean, it won't be long. Direct contact with the EU.
Yes. I thought that this should be our conclusion. If there is any way to reinvigorate, let's say, the bi-communal movement in another way through European channels. This is
the problem with that is that it hits to the paranoia in the south about recognition. So anything which may improve the situation in the south, in the north, is considered as something which will undermine the process, or which will potentially lead to the upgrading of the TRNC. So the Greek Cypriot side is blocking that. I mean, there was, during the last round of negotiations, there was something unprecedented. There was this ad hoc committee in the EU affairs, okay, helping the Turkish Cypriot community to harmonize. That was fantastic.
They blocked it.
And it was bi-communal. I mean, it was a revolutionary thing, I would say. But the moment things stopped at the track one, that stopped as well. So it's really
after Gramuntana, it stopped after Gramuntana.
Exactly. So it's really difficult to play that card. Niyazi Kızılyürek has been doing a lot, and but he is one person, and and again, I mean, I think every important step counts. So in that respect, we have to give credit to Akel for nominating Niyazi Kızılyürek, and not only nominating, actively supporting him to get elected, because we know how nomination works in this country with this, preference votes, etc. You nominate someone, and then you, as we say it in Turkish, you cut at the small list, etc. So it's a huge thing. I mean, one of the victories of the bicommunal movement, Niyazi Kızılyürek representing Cyprus in the European Parliament. But we have to, that's a positive step which should be praised, but we have to go beyond that. We have to
find ways
come up with exactly more ways, more such ways, because it really matters what Niyazi Kızılyürek has been doing.
You have political parties pro-European and belonging and have channels of communication with the European
but the thing is, it's really difficult to, the EU is a super bureaucratized structure. It's one thing to talk to people, to talk to them. It's quite another thing to get them to do something for the Turkish Cypriots. And it's not coming. Okay, there is this, the financial aid thing. It's been coming. I've just checked, more than 500 million euros came. And that's not a bad figure, by the way. At the beginning, when it started in 2006, compared to what Turkey was sending, it was peanuts. Now that the amount coming from Turkey is going down, although it remained the same, it's serious money. Okay? So maybe one way of doing a favor for the Turkish Cypriots is trying to get this money, increase this money. If
one of the aims we have, and we will have a roundtable discussion on that, is how to establish channels of communication, bicommunal, monocommunal, bicommunal, with the European Union. There are ways, many ways to raise our voices as communities, as representing organizations, etc., from both sides. We will have time to discuss it. Soula, do you think we are reaching a point where we will have a conclusion of that?
Yes, but I would like to give the floor to Mehmet if he wants to add something, because we left him there.
We are concluding.
Yes, you want to add something?
Well, I would like to talk about the upcoming elections in Northern Cyprus, which, as we know, the government now is resigned, and the Prime Minister is the only happy person in the Northern Cyprus at the moment. So what we should do, and I already talked to left-wing parties in the parliament, that they should get together in one place, so they all get together to be one strong party to go to election with that way. Otherwise, we got no chance at all to win this election, upcoming election.
Yeah.
That's all we want to say. So we want them to join together. Otherwise, we got no choice, no chance.
Yeah.
Yucel, what do you foresee for the snap elections in the north?
Well, anything is likely to happen from now until the elections, with the videos coming out and everything else. But in September, in our polling, it was UBP ahead of everyone else. Not enough probably for a one-party government, but it's still the biggest party. So like Mehmet Bey said, I think for the left to actually cooperate in this election, it would be very important. Otherwise, we don't have anything new to basically get people out of their homes to go vote. A lot of people are actually talking about if there is no cooperation among the left parties, then they won't go to the voting polls. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of developments happen. Hopefully, surprises like these, although of course it's very disgusting the way the tapes are coming out, or mafia or other forces basically are trying to manipulate politicians, and the politicians are actually allowing this to happen or helping this to happen. But somehow we need to clean up this political system, be it through resignation, forced resignations like these, or I've always said we have to actually use the justice system to actually clean out all the corruption and mafiatic relations in politics as well. So we're likely to see a lot more developments between now and the elections, depending, we can actually agree on having elections anytime soon. So at this point, it's UBP first and CTP second, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. But again, a new government, I mean, even a leftist government, would just change the daily life, will improve the daily life in the north. But it doesn't have any effect on the Cyprus issue. That's completely in the hands of Tatar, right?
Correct.
Yes.
And but at the moment, I think that's what we need. I mean, at least improvement in the day-to-day lives
mm-hmm.
of the citizens, because as I said earlier, it's been downhill economically.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting poorer and poorer, and I don't think that people are really worried about what's going on in the Cyprus problem. Or let me put it this way: in their list of priorities, I don't think that Cyprus problem is in top 5.
I object.
All right. No. Yeah, I'm not saying.
In the polls, it is because the worst things get internally, the Cyprus problem becomes higher up in the priority.
So it went up
in the
now.
polling. Yeah.
Okay,
it's second.
That's good news, because normally it's economy, unemployment, corruption, blah blah blah, and then it's the Cyprus problem. But I'm glad to hear that there are at least some people.
But the people are, thinking,
because that's the shortcut.
Sorry.
That's the shortcut to solve all our problems without getting into complications. And I think it's also part of being not grown-ups, okay? Because it's the magic wand. Somebody will touch reunification, and we think everything will be perfect, which is not the case. But anyway,
when we wake up tomorrow morning, it will happen. So the Cyprus problem is the first problem with in the people's head, because once the Cyprus problem solved, all the problems, most of them, will solve. Now people are struggling finding food in Cyprus. Do you know that? In northern side, they go to bed hungry. I know people like that. So the Cyprus problem is the first problem.
Mm-hmm.
If that solves, lots of things will solve.
Well, one thing that we haven't touched upon, probably this is the current minority government, this interim government, whatever you call them, is the most incompetent government I've seen in the Turkish Cypriot side. Today there were huge lines at the gas stations.
Yes.
I don't know if it hit the.
We know that. Yes, we heard
about
there as well. It's unbelievable. I mean, I saw. I spent, I don't know, half an hour in line, and when I got to the pump, I said, "We are out." And that was at 3 o'clock, 3:30. And then I saw many gas stations closed because they ran out of gas. I mean, this I haven't seen before. Okay, maybe once or twice we had this strikes, but this is in the absence of strike, right? Because
we want the Cyprus to solve it. We want the problem to solve, so we can run the country like normal countries do.
Bravo.
Because they curb the sterling and pound or dollars going up, they shut down everything. So once they go up, they'll earn more money. Yeah, this is not legal. It shouldn't be like this. Government should go and check them. But who is going to do this? We are just on our own. Nobody knows us. You know, we're just living like a jungle. Jungle rules in Northern Cyprus, unfortunately.
I was reading today that there may not be any money to pay salaries at the end of this month, or even the 13th salary in Christmas. I don't know if it's true.
What we hear all the time, maybe for a couple of months, there will be delays, then they will borrow money, Turkey will send money. It's in the eve of the election. It's always like that. They don't allow the Turkish Cypriot economy to hit the, ground.
It will be nice to have a chance.
The motherland will save us.
Yes.
Soula. They said that this time Anastasiadis will pay the money.
Okay.
Well, the money is not in this country. It's gone out. It's their hands. They don't have it here.
I would say to all, many thanks for your contributions. We are able to understand better what's happening.
Yes.
Maybe you've got some of our better understanding for the South, among the Greek Cypriots, how we see the development in the North, and vice versa. Thank you very much, Soula, for moderating this discussion.
Thank you all.
Sertac, Sonan, Yucel, Yucel, Mehmet, Derya, Ralli Papageorgiou. Good evening to everyone. Good evening.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Bye.